Why working with male mentors will not bring you the results that you desire as a woman. That's what I truly believe. Welcome to another episode of Healing into Femininity. My name is Joanna, and I am a specialist on subconscious reprogramming, strategizing to create the life of your dreams in all areas of your life: health, relationships, career, and time and money freedom. So let's dive right in. Today, I'm making a bold claim and I stand behind it. And I look back on more than 10 years of experiences. But in order to really focus on a professional setting, it is definitely 10 years of experiences in the personal development industry and a little bit of on the sidelines. So I want to start with, again, saying the claim. I believe that, especially as a woman and especially as a woman of color, you will not get the results that you're truly looking for when you are working with a white man or also another man of color, but definitely a white man. So I'm making a big the big gap here is woman of color, man, white man. Why? Because, again, one thing that we should not be naive about is the hierarchy of power. Okay? Because I believe that every woman who is looking to invest in herself in the personal development industry, you are looking for power and privilege, because that is always the motivation. This is the two human motivations: power and privilege. We want to gain skills or association with people who have either more power, which is the whole concept of proximity to power, right? And who is power? The power symbol in this world that we live in today, it has not always been this way, but this is the world that we live in, is the white, rich, I would even say rich, the white rich man, right? Which is also a symbol of God, right? Because God, I believe that men have invented all of the male made religions and they've wiped out all of the women, right? That's why the Abrahamic religions, they put a man at the center, or not only the center but the top of religion. So that is the whole system that we've been indoctrinated with, that the rich white man is at the top of the hierarchy, and we as women of color are nothing, right? To make it extreme, just to get the point across. Okay, so now, you as a woman of color, probably if you found my content or if you are interested in personal development and actually really investing, because I can definitely let you know, you will learn a ton by watching my videos, but you will never get the results that you're truly seeking if you are not investing in the work behind the scenes, right? Behind the paywall. That's not how it works. But again, if you're looking to invest, or maybe you have invested, and I believe that many women that will find this video have already invested in white men, right? Like, you've invested in working with white men, because again, also with the personal development industry, the people at the top are white people, and especially white men, because again, we can't leave this concept out if we want to talk about the pursuit of power. Because when we are living in a world, and I always like to say that we are all programmed, and we are all programmed by, first of all, our parents and their DNA and their experiences. But also, as soon as we step on this planet, we are programmed, and the programming happens on a subconscious level, meaning it is not necessarily explicit. People do not talk about it, but you can see it. Once you understand the framework, you can see it. And the it's also, many times we call it the culture, the human condition, the human condition and the human conditioning, the culture that we live in, is a culture formed and deeply entrenched in patriarchy, which is the superiority of men, right? Patriarchy, racism, and capitalism. And all these like all these three, patriarchy, racism, and capitalism, all pay into the account of the rich white men, because the white is the racist part, right? White being superior to black or dark, like darker shades. Then capitalism is rich, rich being superior to everyone who doesn't have capital, aka money and assets and resources. And then man is patriarchy, right? Men being white, being rich is the dominance of hierarchy of power. So if you come along as a black woman, as a brown woman, as a woman of color, Asian, Indian, wherever you come from, okay? You come along and now you assume power and you're like, I am powerful, because maybe you come from a background of privilege, maybe you come from a background of education, of status, of class in your little ecosystem, right? I'm going to make a very short example about my background. So, my mom is a white German working mother who worked her way up into leadership at the end of her career. So, that is considered privilege. My dad was a working class Ghanaian, but he was a migrant. He was an immigrant to Germany, and he married my mother, which is already a power discrepancy, which I definitely know about, right? My mom was a middle class white woman and my dad was a migrant. So he definitely powered up. Right? He definitely powered up. Later, my mom separated from my dad and married a white man, right? So she powered up again. She climbed the ladder. So I know about these power hierarchies and the power moves, not only by studying it. I have been a personal transformational coach for 10 years now, working with the premier training institute for transformational coaching, and also my personal upbringing, not only my parents, but through my mom being a white and very smart woman. And she knew how to work the system and be very elegant in it. We moved. I was born in Germany. We moved back to Ghana when I was 3. I went to a private school. I went to a private kindergarten. I was in the more privileged caste, if you want to call it, in Ghana. So I like I soaked it up, especially if you know, being around black people, mainly dark skinned black people, people of a lighter shade are proximate to power and therefore automatically seen as more valuable or richer or more powerful. Again, I didn't make up the structure, but that's what it is. And today I can put words to it. So that's how I grew up. I grew up as maybe even the golden child, I don't know. I wouldn't necessarily want to call it that, but I grew up in this surrounding in my early formative years. Again, born in Germany, but then soaked up the environment in Ghana from 3 to 7, almost 7, 3 to 6. And then we came back to Germany, where we relocated and built a life. And I still live in Germany. So I lived in Germany, having that background of being this privileged, light skinned child in Ghana, coming to Germany with still a very strong sense of self and confidence, and nobody could ever take that away from me. I don't know if it's just me or if it was formed in Ghana, because they were really very strong formative years. Private school, privileged, money in relation to the rest of the culture, and also the light skin privilege. People want to be your friend, and so on and so forth. Coming to Germany, I continued to walk this life with this demeanor, and also going up the ladder of hierarchy. Since young, I knew this was my path. So I was the first in my family who went to university. I studied international business and culture studies, where again, I studied culture. My bachelor's thesis was about the Ghanaian business culture from a Western perspective, and I studied power and the structure of culture. That's why I'm very well versed in this, right? What is culture? What is the surrounding of all of us, right? Patriarchy, racism, and capitalism, and how people see culture and how to make relations with people in different cultures, because the conduct, the way to navigate through those cultures is a little different. But at the end of the day, it comes down to the same. Okay, so going back to being a woman of color, you maybe come from a privileged background, but now you want to play the real game, right? You are maybe in corporate, in leadership in corporate, or you want to create your own business. You can't think that you are going to create your own ecosystem like detached from that. No, especially if you are in business for yourself, those forces are strong, right? You have to play with those forces of racism, capitalism, and patriarchy, knowing that the white men, the right white, rich white men, is in a power position, even if you come from a privileged family. That's why I say you can't learn the game from a white man. You have to then learn the game from a woman who is more like you. This is also breaking a curse, because as we all know, today I'm going to be very real. This is going to be a very informal video, is talking about my personal experiences and also what I see. As I just said, I know about these power dynamics of race and gender. My dad is a black man, my mom is a white woman, right? So my mom still kind of won the game, because she's not only a white woman but a smart white woman who knew how to work in capitalism. So the racism card was on her side and the capitalistic part was on her side. And now she teamed up with a white man, right? So she put herself in a power position. The thing I know about especially women of color is that many team up with white men to be proximate to power. I have friends, I have colleagues, I have associates who all fall into that paradigm. Women of color looking for white men because that is a privilege. That's how they see it, right? I do not necessarily ascribe to that narrative, but that's how many people see it. Teaming up with a white man, hypergamy, marrying up, that's what they think. I'm all for marrying up if you want to marry at all, but just to understand the dynamics. The same dynamic happens in business, and white men know about this dynamic. Okay, so white men will position themselves in positions of, especially that's my personal experience. I once worked with a guy who had a company that was focused on only working with women. This guy knows the power structure. He knows he doesn't want to, like, what, make it easy. It's not only about service. He was like, let's make it easy. Many women want to climb up the hierarchy and become more visible, master the social media game, and make money doing what they love. So I'm going to work with women, knowing that he is in a power position, and he will tell women to do certain things that work for white men. You understand? That will work for white men, but it definitely doesn't always apply. It's not how do you call it, like one size fits all. This the how do you say, like the system, yes, it works, but the way to navigate the space, the cultural space, works a little different, and you have to know a little bit more about how you as a woman of color, you have to know the nuances, how to speak to your personal client, to your ideal client, how to address the pain points that a white man will never understand because he's a white man. He's in a privileged position in society. You understand? Good. So, again, my personal experience was working with a white man, paying him good money, which is also very important in this power dynamic because I am definitely a feminist and I am somebody who is 100% for women paying women in order to create a like an ecosystem that circulates amongst women so the power can be shared amongst women, right? Because if women continue to think the white man is the only person who can help me up the ladder, you will continue to keep the power structure alive. I hope that's clear. I know I'm talking very fast. I want to but this is very important to me too, for everyone to understand. If you think, and that is where the subconscious programming comes in, if you think that you are at the bottom or at a lower privileged position as a Black woman in this capitalistic society, that is true. You're not at the bottom, right? But I'm speaking from a hierarchy. I am 100% for that you are divine, that you are the mother, that you are actually you are the most powerful person in this whole system, and that's why all of those systems has had to be made up in order to suppress the woman and especially the woman of color. But in order to understand the system, we want to talk a little bit in hierarchy. So if you think that the white man is still on top, you're giving away your power. That is what I'm talking about. You're giving away your power to a mental construct. And the mental construct is embedded in your mind. That is the subconscious program. Because when we are born, we inherit the mindsets of the world through our parents, through our culture. If we are lucky, we have parents that decondition us from a young age if they know better, but many people do not know better. They just follow the system. So we have to understand that we all start out kind of with believing that the white man is God, right? That the white man is on top of the hierarchy. And this will play out, will continue to play out in our behavior. And if we keep giving our money to people who are not part of our economy, of our community, the money is gone. You've probably heard about how Jewish people circulate their money in their community, how white people circulate their money in their community, and then how people of color circulate their money in their economy. And many times, people of color circulate their money out of their economy right away because either there is no economy or there is no trust in the economy, or there is no trust amongst each other to let the money circulate. What would it mean to let the money circulate in the economy? It would mean that another woman could build herself up, right? Who hopefully has the same interests as you. She can build herself up, build her family up, which is always right, right? Everybody needs to take care of themselves first. Right. So you give her the money for a service that she provides, and then she will take the money to build herself up, to build up her family. And then given that she has the same values, she will recirculate the money to another woman or another woman of color so she can build herself up. She can take care of whatever she needs to take care of, right? And then she will pay another woman of color, and so on and so forth. And given that that's the conduct, is that everyone believes in the system, that we continue to trust each other, right? That we continue to trust each other and circulate the money in our community where everybody benefits from the community, the different services, the products, right? There has to be economy, there has to be trade amongst each other in order to create value for one another, right? But if you are still indoctrinated by this patriarchal, racist, capitalistic hierarchy where you believe that the white man has the solution to all of your problems, whether he is your partner or he is your business mentor, you are draining, you're leaving, you're giving money out to somebody who is not necessarily part of your community because he has completely different interest, given that he is also indoctrinated by the mindset of patriarchy, racism, and capitalism. The white man will take his money. I know it sounds so bad. I never thought that I would really say that in as an antidote or as the opponent in this story, but it's not necessarily an opponent. I have a white stepfather and I love him dearly and he loves me dearly. He really supports me, but these power structures are still there. Okay. Like it's not personal. It's just what it is. Okay. So if we give the money to the white man and he takes the money, right, he will circulate his money in a different economy that will not get back into our economy. Okay. So, and especially as a woman of color, you have to understand that your target audience are other women of color, whether it is an Asian woman, an Indian woman, a black woman, a mixed woman, a Latina. If those women are smart, we circulate money amongst each other. If we are indoctrinated, we will circulate the money out to the white man, which is not bad because I learned so I could give it back to the community, right? I also learned things, but I know that in order to really get ahead, you will have to learn from a woman who shares more of your real life experiences, which are definitely also intertwined with a level of oppression, mental, spiritual, emotional, physical, and especially financial oppression because of this system. I hope that you can follow. Okay. I really hope that you follow because we now know once we give out the money, it will circulate into other spheres. It will not come back to our economy. And money is power, right? Money is the power that we use in order to create the things that we really want to create solutions for the problems that we see. And I believe so much in the female economy, the feminine economy, the women's economy, that we support one another. And it's more true so with women of color amongst each other. Okay, good. So we have all been conditioned with the thinking of proximity to power is the proximity to whiteness, is the proximity to maleness, yeah, and of course the proximity to an image of being rich, this old money rich kind of thing, which is fine, right? We have to play the game, we have to play the game and we have to adjust, so we just have to know the rules. Okay, we have to know the rules in order to play the game and to play the game effective and to play the game to win. Very important. That is for me the number one thing that I want to set here. And then I want to continue to speak about a few examples that I have experienced, right? And that's why I always like to say, you are not the exception. And I am also not the exception. And we have to know that that's true because I believe as long as a woman thinks she's the exception, sooner or later you will fall. Sooner or later you will have to pay the price because everybody will reap, reap the consequences. And what I mean by that is that I have been on this pursuit of power, building my business, building my reputation, building my social image, right? All of that for a while now. And I like to say that also women who are ambitious are many times the target, right? And what I mean by that is I'm going to expose myself a little bit here just so you know that I have also made experiences that were very unfavorable, but also to make the point of that men circulate their money and also look up to power. Many men will not see you as the price. Many men will not see you as what they're reaching for, what they're going for. And that applies to the men of your own ethnicity, too, right? Black men, brown men, Latino men, Asian men, and Turkish men, whatever, many times they strive for the power hierarchy as well. They want to gain power and gain privilege by associating themselves with the symbols of that so called power hierarchy. That's why many men, it's same thing as women, right? Women of a certain ethnicity will marry white men to marry up. Men of a certain ethnicity will marry or date white women to marry up. Okay, it's not necessarily about dating here, but I can tell you that you have to be with the women and empower the women around you, because thinking that a man and associating with a man, whether he's your color or your ethnicity or white, will give you the power position that you're looking for is not true, because he will always follow his own direction. Okay, always maybe is exaggerated. We shouldn't use always because, of course, it's not everybody, but it's the general. Because I would say 98% of people are programmed and they don't even know what rules they're following. Okay, so it is important for us to understand that, to understand how we are programmed and how aligning, because that's what we thought, aligning and associating and allying with men is a proximity to power, right? We want to always be proximate to the power structure. And we think this is a power structure, white man is God, right? That's what we need to be. We have to be with white people, and that's fine. We can have allies, but we always have to check how they think about their own privilege. Because, and that's what I want to say next, because people who are aware of the power hierarchy know their privileges in the hierarchy, right? I want to call out the elephant in the room, as I already did. I know that people in more darker shade of Black communities will just automatically, even though people are doing the work, I know, and I am all for it, right? Because I don't necessarily think I'm superior, but the programming says that, right? The programming says people with a lighter shade of brown are superior to people with a darker shade of brown. I don't ascribe to that, but I know that that's my privilege. I know that, right? And other people in other countries or other cultures know that too, just like Asian people of a fairer skin know that they are in this hierarchy, man made hierarchy, superior than dark skinned Asian people, and so on and so forth. You get it. What I want to go about to next is how men or women, I'm going to say white women, know their position, and many times they will exploit their position. They will use their power privilege and they will use it against you. Even if it looks like I'm going to use it for you, you pay me and I'm going to help you up. It's still the exchange of power, but you cannot buy yourself into being white, right? You can pay them and they can teach you something, which I still think is not generally bad. Okay. But just to understand the dynamic, you pay them, and what are they giving you? Because again, you can't change your skin color and you can't change your gender. The only thing you want to trade is to learn the skills, the mindset of the privileged, the mindset of how to get ahead, learning how to navigate yourself in this world, knowing how to navigate yourself to not get exploited. But if you pay somebody who is like automatically one rung up the ladder in this ladder of power and privilege, you will have to be mindful if what they are giving you actually really applies to you. This is, I spoke about this and I'm going to speak about it again. I was in an MLM and I work with only white people, right? It is white people who set those things up most of the time. And I know my position, I know my power, I know my influence. So I know that people were always keen to work with me. But it took me a time to realize what position that I held in the power structure for them. Yeah, because I could be a magnet to other Black people, right? I could be a magnet to other brown people. But it didn't work for me, so I fell into that trap. I also invested like 5 figures into working with a white man with a system that I actually already had out of desperation, to be honest. And then my own unconscious biases kicked in, and I thought maybe I could learn from that white man. But then I realized the only time I realized what I truly needed was when I learned from another woman of color, because she could split up all of the dimensions that I'm also explaining to you right now. Yeah. So that is very important for you to know that this hierarchy exists. It is fluid, right? It doesn't always apply because, of course, there are underprivileged white people, even if you are a privileged woman of color, right? Underprivileged white people might still subconsciously think that they are above you. You know, that's how this system works. So you will have to know how to navigate. And that's why, again, I'm going to take another example. Also, Black men in my case here. People who outwardly, that's why, again, I'm speaking about the personal development industry. People who outwardly present that they are community builders, right? That they are mental health advocates, that they are for the profit of the community, will in the back end go around and exploit other women or other Black women, right? Whether it is sexually or tapping into their intellectual property, picking their brains, right? And not valuing them for that, right? And that's so important, especially if you are a woman with intellectual property. And I believe that that's who you are, right? You're here because you want to get yourself ahead. So it's important for you to know that allying with a man, even if he looks like in the front he is for the community, he is for health, he is for mental health, he is for the empowerment of the community, he's building structures, he's building community spaces, he's building whatever he pretends to build there, right? He's like a very good politician, right? Just as many other business people that we see falling today, is that we see how they pretend to be for the upward momentum. But then again, they will, for example, choose to be with a white woman. How much are they then truly playing in your favor? And I've seen that too. A Black man discarding, using, abusing Black women, leaving them damaged, and then continuing his race, right? Being the happy guy in the front end, like being very nice and super haute, right? Like in the higher realms of things, right? Haute couture, haute cuisines, things like that. But then choosing a white woman. right? Because he wants to be proximate to power. Yeah. The same thing with white women. Many white women will throw women of color under the bus to continuously be with white men, right? To follow the plan, to carry out his mission. And the mission of a white man is very seldomly to truly empower a woman of color. Truly. There, I have another example, all real life examples. I know these people, right? Another guy, he is also a professional in the personal development industry. He goes to many seminars and all of that. And he had a black woman, he had a black wife and has mixed children. I know that. And he always tells me, yeah, that he's dating other black women or brown women or whatever. And he is using his white privilege because people think that he has money. Because many times, also, trust me, just because a white man is using his privilege doesn't really mean that he's better than even you in your profession. No, 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 no. We know that here, right? You know that. Okay, but I just want to shed some light on it. White men looks like he has a big network, a powerful network. He knows a lot of people in the personal development industry, real estate, investing, and so on. And many women think, oh, that is a good catch. But he will use his privilege to exploit the woman and discard her. Because if you don't play the game right, better know that those people know how to play the game, and they will get whatever it is that they want out of you, even if it's proximity to looking like they are empowering people, because that is part of um, portraying a picture of being powerful. Is charity, is philanthropy, right? It is associating with people who come from underprivileged representatives, right? From groups that look like underrepresentation, and people will take pictures with you. Oh my God, there are so many people that come to mind where I have seen those power plays happening, right? Another white man, right, playing into this whole thing, empowering people, but he's using his position of power to create an image about himself. All I'm saying is learn how to play the game. Learn how to play the game, and especially the resource game, which is your energy, your time, your intellectual property, but also your money. So if you're looking forward to get ahead and learn the skills, learn the skills of healing, right? Also that the whole healing industry, another, I will have to say that I will want to give you many examples, and I want to tell you again, one person is a celebrity, front facing, public facing. Another person in the personal development industry that I just spoke about. Another person also in the personal development space, really as a coach for only women. Another guy, community leader, and also a person of color, a community leader, advocating for mental health, exploiting women on the back end. Then this other guy was a lawyer, right? A lawyer with a project or with an institution, something also with the government and helping people, especially students, to get to the next level, something like that. Playing the game of charity, of philanthropy, associating himself with underprivileged people, right? Because it's a good look for him. Just know the game, right? Know if you're being a pawn in this game for someone else, or if you're truly positioning yourself for power, right? You will need allies, you will need people, you will need to know who to associate with, but always know your position. And this game, you can only learn from another woman of color who knows to play the game and to climb the ladder of privilege and power as a woman of color who doesn't deny it and who is not blind to it, right? Because again, also a woman of color has privileges. And this is what I speak about. Use your privilege, pretty privilege, knowledge privilege, right? Intellectual property, a privilege, your contacts, a prestigious educational background, your network, right? All of those things are privileges. You can speak, you can dress, you can advocate for yourself, you can market yourself, you are on social media, you are willing to show face, you have worked for prestigious organizations, all of those things. I have all of that, right? And I use it to empower my community, right? So this is what you want to do too, while at the same time play the game right and associate with people, but always know that they know how to get something out of you. Whether it is, again, and let's be real about it as women, whether it is your body, your mind, or your money, right? So you will have to know exactly the battlefield that you're playing on and also know how to get something out of the people that you decide to associate yourself with. Okay. So I'm just thinking if there is another thing I wanted to say, because this was really something on my mind. I wanted to share that with you because again, I've made many experiences on this climb, on this pursuit of power. I have encountered coaches, colleagues, right? People who wanted to date me. Also, yes, two more examples that I want to use just to finish what my notes were. Another guy, exactly, as a woman of color, also men of color. It's not only white men, right? But also men of color will also not teach you exactly how to play the game as you, as a woman of color. Because many times, and this is what I know from another big person in the personal development industry, is a man of color, and he is definitely using his privileges, which is also good looking. This is again what women love, right? The subconscious programming that we all have is a man on top of the hierarchy, right? For many it's a white man, but it can also be any kind of man, because in patriarchy men hold the position of power. Then racism and capitalism. So if you're a black man with power, with resources, with money, you're still winning patriarchy and capitalism. So it doesn't matter your race, right? Good. And women are so obsessed with men that they think, oh my God, now there's a man on top, a powerful man. He will rescue me. Right now, he's a personal development guru and he will bestow his knowledge upon us that will get us ahead, not knowing he cannot help you to navigate yourself elegantly through society, through business, through negotiations, through certain rooms, being in your skin as a woman of color in rooms where money is being discussed. He is still a man, right? But women like to give up that energy to men, the money, your body, your energy, your mind, and your money. You will give it to a man because you still deeply are indoctrinated by the man holds more power. And then you change your resources for, of course, you get something back. The program, if he delivers, right? Because many scam people as well, right? And it happens all the time where people don't deliver. But what I want to say here is that this man knows how to leverage his privilege, which is also good looking, playing into the paradigm of rappers or like black men on top, a powerful black man. Men will play into those things to then get women become their followers and be like, yeah, oh my God, which is the same dynamic as this celebrity or God. You put him on a pedestal on a stage, right? And you become a fangirl. of your personal development guru, secretly hoping that one day you will be in a one-on-one mastermind and then you that he sees you and that he thinks you're amazing and that he will wants to date you and marry you. This is how women fall for these men. I know that. I know that. I've seen that. So again, it's white men in personal development, it's black men in personal development, and it is also very, and I mean, we've seen that now with all of the things coming out in the files, but also what I've also seen in my personal life experience is a male guru, right? Also a spiritual teacher, more in the like spiritual, right? Personal development comes with that, but is more, let's call it sophisticated, more geared to capitalism and learning how to win the game of money. But also in the spiritual community, they're predators. Let's just call it that. Predators there who are preying on the good girl, the program girl, the girl who thinks she's at the bottom, and the vulnerable ones, right? Like, and this guru guy, I got to know, he facilitated like workshops and all of that to help people gain consciousness, right? And become more conscious. Also, a little bit of like your triggers and things like that. But then I found out that he was exactly the kind of toxic, abusive spiritual leader that we know about is that he slept with his followers, young girls who were seeking guidance from a man, from the guru, from God, from the rich white man, also rich in knowledge or pretending to be rich in knowledge and wisdom of spiritual capacity, falling for him, and then, yeah, ending up sleeping with him, getting impregnated by him, and he playing mind games, power games, and then later on saying, preaching free love and non-attachment. Come on, girls. Oh my goodness. I've seen so much bullshit, really. So that's why I'm here to really, there are definitely things you need to do, of course, in capitalism. Yeah, you can't change your gender, you can't change your skin color, right? You can't really change it. You have to become so um so you have to make peace with who you are, where you come from, your family history, your heritage, right? All of that. You have to make peace with that instead of wanting to become a puppet that plays into the rich white man's power game, right? Which is also the whole dating content, which is still appeasing to men, still becoming a version of yourself to be liked by a man. No, learn how to do business with other women and especially women of color. That is the antidote, because everything I just said, black men in media, black men in personal development, white men in personal development, white men in personal development, black men in the white men in spiritual development. All of those men, I see all of them, and they've all abused women looking to get ahead. They've all abused women looking to get ahead, whether it is spiritually, right? Whether it is business wise, whether it is network wise, whether it being a mentor, whether it being really geared towards women only. All of them don't understand your position. All of them do not understand how to move strategically and socially elegant, as Julia Shaw likes to say, a wonderful personal development teacher. Mm, that is also what I ascribe to. You can't learn from a man how to get ahead in this capitalistic, patriarchal, racist climate, right? Again, I always like to use the water that we swim in. A fish doesn't know that he swims in water or that she swims in water because it's so normal. It's just what it is, right? It's just what she sees, That's just the life that we live. But if you want to decode it, that's what it is, right? The power hierarchy, where it is suggested that the white man is on top, and then therefore that the darker women, the women of color, are at the bottom. We free ourselves from that. You tap into your own power, and that's exactly what I teach. So if you're ready to really do the work and get ahead in this life, in this world, in this capitalistic system, and make money from what it is that you have to offer because you have power, let me take you through the 5 steps. Okay. So, what I help you with in the Dream Builder program, which is the first entry step, you can access the community space, which is for free. And the first do it yourself course is the Dream Builder system. In the Dream Builder system, you will learn how to discover and design your true dream. You will learn how to navigate through this life in your situation from where you are with what you have without jumping off the cliff, right? Without going to a yoga retreat, without going to any kind of retreat. You do not have to go to Bali to change your life. You have to change your life from where you are right now, right? You will learn how to bridge the paradigm, like learn to change your mind from the naive girl who still plays into the power games of everybody, not knowing what game we're playing, to the mindset of an awakened woman, right? You are awake and you are powerful. Learning how to bridge that paradigm, learning new skills such as speaking, conveying your ideas, standing in your power, right? Knowing what you have to offer, protecting your intellectual property, learning how to sell, learning how to get on social media, right? And ultimately, exactly that, live from the power within. If you want to learn that, if you want to really do the work, sign up, get into the group. From the group on, you will find the program inside the group. You will find it. And if you are ready to really work with me one-on-one or be part of the next group cohort, apply your apply form, the form, yeah, in the description box below. Then I can see if we're a good fit to work together at this level. And if that resonated with you and you've been looking for a female mentor, this is your time. Take charge, take action, because to win in this game is to get ahead. It's not to play alone, it's to get a mentor, it's to get into a tribe of truly like minded people who have your same interest at heart in the system. So I'm looking forward to see you take action and see you in the next video. Until then, bye.